Hey folks, Siam here. So I think I've created a model which forecasts the price trajectory of Kaspa. Now I know that sounds pretty outlandish, which is why I've called this video an exercise of futility, but bear with me. Before I go through this model, I just want to give you some context and I want to take you step by step. So one of the things I've always done since sort of 2016 is gone heavy into projects that are relatively promising with good tokenomics, and then I like riding that initial hype wave. Now obviously we all got into Bitcoin at various points, but I got in around sort of sub $700 Bitcoin, and obviously we know what's happened there. Now with all the things I'm about to show you, all my previous things where I've gone pretty much whole hog in, and when I say that, where I've put more than £100,000 in, I don't get the pico low or the all-time high. All I'd get is a meaty sort of low-hanging, low risk, high probability outcome plays. So Ethereum got in $8, rode that up. Obviously it then dipped, and all of these projects, pretty much every project, crash hard during the bear markets. Neo was another one where it got in around $2. That basically 100x'd. Cardano again got in around 2 cents, and we've seen what's happened with that. Zilliqa that's a bit more recent in 2020, around sort of 2 cents, and that rode up to north of 20. Tron was another one actually very similar in terms of price action to Zilliqa. Aave during the DeFi summer in around $50-ish, I think 50 to 100. And then more recently, which you probably have heard, Olympus, getting into Olympus DAO around $400, riding that up and then getting out thankfully around $850, $950, and then Wonderland Time, where we got in about close to 2,000, rode that up. That one I did take a hit when Sifu got ousted as a next convict, or current convict, who knows. Anyway, so the premise I'm trying to say here is that no matter how bullish you are on a project, the project will nearly always crash hard during a bear market. So it's imperative that you ride the retail hype wave, and this is where I see Kaspa as my next sort of addition to something where I'm very, very bullish on in the short to medium term, and to be honest, I think it's got very good legs in the long term as well. So first of all, you have to understand that hash rate precedes price. So here's Bitcoin over here on the right hand side. The light blue stuff is hash rate. It absolutely buggers off, and then price spikes up to catch up, and hash rate continues to grow up, and it's the thing that sort of drags price up. Now literally in the month of August alone for Kaspa, it's gone from 3.23 petahashes to north of 16 petahash. That's over 1,500 KS3 ASICs that have gone online, and another 1,000 to come online over the next month or so. So we should be seeing around 25 petahash by the end of September, which is absolutely crazy, and the price hasn't spiked up to catch up yet. Now let's talk about as I said, this model, which I don't see anyone else talking about, which I think is quite crucial. So the pattern that I'd love you to imprint and chisel into the back of your skull is this sort of price action. Now you see a similar setup. By the way, this is identical on Bitcoin as well. You can feel free to backtest on the log charts. So you have to do this on a log chart, but basically you get an all-time high, 1. It comes down into a double bottom, or a bottoming pattern of sorts, maybe a triple bottom, 2. You then have the spring 3, where it springs up from that. You then have the 4 retesting the bum. Then it pumps up into trap 5. This is normally around the all-time high. Normally it's either in or around it. It's even nicer if it's on top, and it bounces from that. But the reason I call it a trap 5 is because it has one big fake out to the downside to break technical support levels, so everyone gets scared and starts selling, and it's one last tree shake for the big boys to shake out all the weak hands before it pumps up into the pre-high 6 and then all-time high 7. So please understand this sort of fractal. Now, I've been playing around with fractals and Kaspa for quite a while now, and I've come up with a few different models, but I think I've finally landed on something which has legs. Now, I put this out on Twitter yesterday, and I just want to go through this. So if we focus here, you have all-time high 1, down into double bottom 2, spring 3, it then pulls back to retest the bum 4, trap 5 around the all-time high, pumping into pre-high 6, and then all-time high 7. And that then starts the next fractal, again, down into double bottom 2, spring 3, retest the bum on the 4, trap 5 around the all-time high, pump into pre-high 6, and then all-time high. And then guess what? This starts again, as you can see. And where does this leave us now? So this is the thing with fractals. If you mislabel something, you can wreck yourself. So you've got to check yourself before you wreck yourself, in the words of Ice Cube. So we could potentially be at trap 5 right now. It's around the all-time high. It's shaking a lot of people out. People are scared. It's broken the technical support levels, and we could be in the just before the pump into the pre-high 6 and the all-time high 7. Now, looking at this particular thing, you could mislabel this, or you could label it in a different way. We've got the clear double bottom, but is this the spring 3 down into the retest 4, up into the trap 5? It's quite low from the all-time high here. And is this pre-high 6 and then all-time high 7? And is this starting another move to a double bottom? I don't know. But here's the thing. When we're looking at the all-time highs, they are considerably higher than the previous one. Now, I've also had this other sort of model of what I call a big mini cycle. So you have, again, the fractals are exactly the same, but you have a big pump. So you have an all-time high considerably greater than the previous all-time high. The same sort of fractals again, got the double bottoms and the trap 5s and all that sort of stuff. But the all-time high it creates is barely above the previous all-time high. So you have like a mini all-time high. You then move into another cycle where you have a big all-time high where it absolutely balloons from the previous one. And then another fractal into a mini all-time high. And then a big high, then a mini. So the model which I'm running forwards with now, and only time will tell, that's the thing with things like this where you are effectively curve fitting data, because we've only got 2 years worth of data really, is I'm amalgamating both models, the big mini cycles with my fractals. So let's look at this now, and it gives a slightly different picture. So first of all, we start with a big cycle. 1 down into double bottom 2, spring 3, retest the bum 4, trap 5, pre-high 6, 7 all-time high. You get the gist, right? You then do a mini cycle. The all-time high is barely above the previous all-time high, and again you got the trap 5, which is around the previous all-time high here. So that is a nice cycle. The next cycle, yeah, it's all right. You have again the trap 5 around that all-time high here. Into the pre-high, that was a bit of a spike there, into the 7. So that was the big leap up. Remember, this is a logarithmic chart, so it goes from a high of 1 cent all to a high of 4 cents. So that's a big leap there. But then look at this other fractal. So we have the double bottom, spring 3, trap, retest the bum on 4, trap 5 is quite a lot lower than that all-time high there. Pre-high 6, all-time high 7. Now this all-time high of 5.1 cents is only just above that previous one. So this is why I'm inkling to believe that this is a mini cycle. And what we're now doing is we've just started the beginning of a big cycle. So actually, instead of this being trap 5, could this actually just be the decline like we see with all of these little declines? Now the angle of if you were to look at the angle of it, whoopsie daisy, I've got my mouse here, the angles are roughly the same with all of these. So it does make sense that we could have this could actually be the beginning of a cycle, and what we're looking for is maybe moving down into a double bottom 2, spring 3, fall to retest the bum, trap 5 around these levels again, into a pre-high 6 and then 7. So this should take us to 10 to 15 cents potentially, this big big high, or yeah, around 15 cents maybe, and then the mini one will take us sort of 25 cents. So that's my feeling. Now when we open up a chart and have a look at this, it makes a little bit more sense. So yeah, this does look like this could be because the beginning of a new cycle. But it will be interesting to see how things play out. But yeah, originally I thought this could have been a trap 5. But either way, whether it's a trap 5 or the beginning of a new cycle, which I actually think I'm leaning more towards this, either way, it's up. So in terms of where we should fall into, looking at, if we just clear all of this, in terms of technical support, oops, let's get to the daily chart. I think we could see a move down into this sort of area, the 2.6, 2.7 area. Yeah, we've got basically 2 support levels here at 3 cents and about 2.7. So what I'm now potentially looking for is either some sort of double bottoming here or a double bottoming around here, followed by, let's say it's the bottom one actually. So worst case scenario, I think we'll probably get something like this, retest, moving up, then we get some sort of bullshit shenanigans around here for the trap 5, and then springing into sort of pre-high 6, and then all-time high 7. I don't know, maybe around 10 cents actually, by the looks of it, somewhere around here. Because, yeah, and remember this is a logarithmic chart, so it's not going to go in a diagonal. It's exponential growth is technically bottom left to top right, a diagonal line, but everything exits exponential growth. Nothing in reality stays like that. So if you were to draw something like this, that's something along the lines of what we're looking at. And again, if we just get rid of all of this, I wouldn't be surprised if we trucked up something like this. So we've got this, obviously I've drawn these quite roughly, but a move up into somewhere around here, 20 cents, that would be quite nice for the next big and mini cycle. Anyway, I hope this helps, and I'll see you soon. Toodles, bye bye.